Welcome to the Ski the Kingdom show, our podcast series looking to give more coverage, awareness and exposure to all the great things going on within the UK snowsports scene. Now, very luckily, I'm joined by Oliver Kane. You might know him from Enjoy the View or from Fridge Bangers. Ollie, thank you much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. For people that haven't come across you yet, give us the lowdown, give us the rundown on who you are and all the things that you do.
So my name's Ollie and I'm the filmer for Fridge Bangers. That's probably how most people listening to this would know me. So I guess most people in the UK probably have seen at least one of our edits or maybe follow us on Instagram, Facebook. But I guess I'm just sort of here to give some tips and sort of guidance and talk to Jack about how we sort of progressed from being a snowdome filmer through to someone that actually sort of makes videos for a living now. So yeah.
Well, let's dive right into that. So tell us how you kind of came first to get in the snow sports world, how you got into making edits and kind of where it all started.
So I learnt to ski at Norwich about 11 years ago, which probably no one knows because I mainly film at Milton Keynes now. And I sort of got into freestyle through some friends from high school. Stopped skiing for a couple of years during my exams, and then I met Mason and Keir, who are sort of the two main people with Fridge Bangers, in my first year of sixth form, and that was the same year that I bought my first camera, and pretty much ever since then I just haven't really put the camera down. It's sort of always been an opportunity to film something, whether it's our Britain's Got Skiers edit back in 2015, going on a road trip to Landgraf last year, just sort of any opportunity that we've had to film, I've sort of been there with the camera, so yeah.
What kind of made you, I guess, looking back, what kind of made you want to? It's a big sacrifice, really, because you're kind of giving up your ski time to film other people. What was the motivation, kind of, when you first started filming? What did you want to do with it?
I'm not sure there was too much of a motivation when I first started filming. It was just something where Keir and Mason are a lot better skiers than me, and obviously I was sort of coming back into skiing at the time, so it made sense to sort of try and get myself back into it through filming, and it just sort of spiraled out of control, and I got really into the filming side of things and just had a real interest in filming. I sort of was always learning things, so that was why I never really took the time to ski again, I guess.
So talk us through kind of your career progression. So you started making edits in Milton Keynes, and how have you kind of progressed to the point where you are now, where you're making big videos for huge companies and it's your full-time job, your full-time career?
So I guess it's sort of, the progression was from me, Keir and Mason, just sort of making our edits on a Friday evening at Milton Keynes. We used to call them evening at MKs. So we'd sort of film them Friday evening, I'd edit them Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and sort of aim to get them up on Sunday afternoon or something. And it's I started to get sort of noticed by the local guys, and they'd be like, oh, film us. And then Keir introduced me to Tom Boddington, who was the events manager at the time at Snowzone. And sort of I met him on the slope one evening, he said, do you want to come make some freestyle edits for us? And sort of for the next few months after that, it was every week I was at Milton Keynes filming the snowboarders, just filming anyone that was there really, and putting together a little freestyle edit. And yeah, that was sort of how it progressed, and I sort of learned how to do little extra things with business, like how to make the invoices, how to sort of email and check over with Tom sort of what he wanted changing about the videos. And it just sort of grew from there, and then he had me doing other little things for Milton Keynes, like the This Girl Can campaigns, and just sort of anything that needed to be videoed at Milton Keynes, Tom was going to me for it, and that was sort of a really useful thing for me to sort of kickstart my career and sort of get an experience of running a business on a small scale, and then sort of take that knowledge and take it to other clients. So just sort of going around my dad's contacts and stuff and saying, hey, do you want a video? I've done this, sort of, I've got a portfolio now, and was able to show them. So that was really useful for me sort of progressing, and now it's sort of a point where I've got a portfolio. I don't really have to go to people so much, sort of it's word of mouth stuff. So if someone says, oh, where'd you get your video produced? They'd come to me and sort of say, oh, I've seen this video, someone's passed your contact details on, and that'd sort of be how it is.
After getting that first client, I guess the first client's the hardest, and kind of when people see your work and know you can produce to that standard, then it's easy to go to say to other people and say, look, I've done this, would you like me to do the same for you? As it's progressed now, I remember kind of, I guess I'm sure when we first started, making that first video was the hardest, and it took weeks and weeks to get it right, but now edits are flying in thick and fast. And what's life like for you now? Kind of if there's such thing as a standard week in our job, what's your sort of career like on a daily and weekly basis?
Well, I'd say it sort of varies every week. Sometimes there's a week of like pure office work, and it's just creating leads and sort of going to people and saying, this is what I do, and sort of introducing yourself, and then just emails and updating stuff. And then there's been times where it's like 2 weeks of filming straight, and I've always found, like, with the filming stuff, is when one bit of work comes in, there's always like it's sort of quite a bit of work comes in after that. You sort of get overwhelmed with the filming, and then you're sort of overwhelmed with your editing and stuff, and it's sort of, you build it up and then it sort of slows down again, and it's a nice sort of the way it sort of rolls in and sort of comes back and forward, I guess. You're always living the job sort of thing. Like, you never sort of stop working when it's sort of this thing. There's always a little thing you can be doing, like in the evening you can be editing a little bit on your, especially for you and me, like making our ski films and stuff. There's always something that you can be organising or saying to someone, do you want to come shoot something this weekend, or just sort of making a little edit or planning something, or just anything that you could be thinking of doing, you're doing it all the time. So like 9 o'clock at night you're thinking of what you could be filming next. But I guess for me, my ideal balance of what I'm trying to do every week is sort of filming 1 or 2 days a week, maybe a day of sort of meetings, office work, just sort of getting to know people, and then a couple of days of editing. But I guess sort of there's also busy periods of the year as well. So I guess for you and me, summer's our busy period. Even for making ski videos now, like everyone's home, and so like we're getting back with Fridge Bangers now, so everyone's coming together. So we've got loads of stuff over the next few weeks to film, and it's just sort of making those plans now. And I think the good weather gets everyone excited to be outdoors and filming. So.
And I guess it's a really nice, I don't know about you, kind of, it's a really nice life that it's so flexible, and it's not a standard 9 to 5. You're not kind of always excited to go in. Every week's different and that kind of stuff. And would you say as well, I guess we're filmers that both come from the snowsports industry, and specifically the UK snowsports industry, and I can think of a long list of names of people that are now come from the ski scene and now doing huge big projects with commercial companies. Do you think it's an advantage to kind of have, I guess, the skills kind of learned from the sort of being in harsh environments and having sort of the challenges that snowsports filming is? Do you think it's an advantage in the wider media world? Have you found that?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that when you're filming skiing and snowboarding, you sort of have to be ready for everything almost. Sort of, you never know what trick's going to come quite a lot of the time. Like someone was saying, I'm going to do a 2-on or something, and they'll go and throw a 4 or something. Like Mason has done that so many times. He's like said, I'm going to do one thing, and he's gone and done like the complete opposite. And you just have to be there, sort of expecting that. So when it comes to put us in like those high pressure situations in like other jobs, it's like it's not really a stressful thing because you know something crazy is going to happen. You're almost always expecting something odd to happen. But yeah, I think that being snowsports filmmakers, it sort of really sets you apart from other filmmakers. Like it gives you that sort of creative edge almost as well. I guess like if you say to someone, have a look at my portfolio and there's a bunch of ski videos on there, they're going to be like, oh, this guy's going to bring something a bit different to our business, rather than someone who's just making typical corporate videos. You're going to excite their staff as well when you're making their videos, I think. So that's really something that I sort of try and use to my advantage as much as possible. I always show a new client a ski video, and as well as the stuff that I'm also doing sort of as a business or corporate stuff. So.
And obviously you've kind of got two arms to your business, I guess. You've got your company Enjoy the View, which does a lot of huge commercial work, corporate work, that kind of stuff. And then you've also got, we touched on it, Fridge Bangers. Tell us more, for people that haven't come across the Fridge Bangers and Fridge Bangers crew yet, tell us more about that.
So Fridge Bangers is a project that myself, Mason and Keir, we probably started work on it 3-4 years ago now. But back when we started on it, it was just us guys skiing, and Fridge Bangers itself actually grew out of us making a Britain's Got Skiers edit, for those who remember the old Britain's Got Skiers competition. We made an edit back in, I think, 2014 or 2015, and basically it was supposed to be a one-off thing. We were supposed to call the edit Fridge Bangers, and it sort of grew from there, and we turned it into a Facebook page, and we sort of continued to make our edits at Milton Keynes after that, and then we just sort of tried to progress it a bit more. I think it's just a thing where we never really expected it to get as big as it does. Like, I guess it's Ski the Kingdom and then it's Fridge Bangers, so where back in the day we had Unity Productions and those guys, now it's Ski the Kingdom and Fridge Bangers. So I think it's sort of trying to figure out, like, it's a bit overwhelming sort of how people start to think about you and they come to you and ask you for sticks and stuff. Like, it's interesting, but it's not how we expect it to go from making those first edits back at Milton Keynes 3 or 4 years ago.
And talk us through the reality of it, because I guess it's very exciting. Like I say, that's kind of the best part, when people kind of know from other snow domes and other dry slopes, know your work and kind of recognise you. And we've had, I guess you kind of see people like the Huck TV crew, Ninja Armadillos, they're all popping up now. Talk us through anyone kind of, would you have said Fridge Bangers, has it been a kind of a help for you in the snowsport scene? Is it, you could have gone out as Oli Kane and kind of made lots of videos just by yourself, but kind of having that brand and that group of Fridge Bangers, has that been a help? And kind of what advice would you give to people that are maybe a filmer that's local to a dry slope and wants to get a crew together? Kind of how has the Fridge Bangers experience and process been for you?
I think sort of being part of a crew, sort of, especially like being friends with Mason, he just knows so many other guys in the scene. Like, I've been introduced to Justin Taylor-Tipton, Tom Greenway, Ed Hallett, guys like that. Well, I probably wouldn't have sort of met them if I'd have just been going around on my own and sort of trying to do things, because it's sort of a thing of, you're sort of, I guess, when you know one person, the other guys will respect you, where once you're sort of known by one person and they introduce you to everyone else, it sort of grows from there, and you get to know more people and they start asking you to come do their videos, or they want to come film with you. And that's the thing about Fridge Bangs, is sort of a lot of people want to come and film with us, or they ask, when are we going to their slope, or why aren't we going to this slope this week, or it's one of those things which is interesting to sort of see how people are now interested to see us come to their slopes, where before we was just at Milton Keynes and we was really trying to encourage people to Milton Keynes, but we realised that trying to encourage everyone to Milton Keynes, it gets boring watching those videos every week from Milton Keynes, so you do have to go sort of a bit further afield. So last summer we done our road trip to Holland, and we done Castleford, Stoke, Kidsgrove, Hemel, Tamworth. Sort of those are all domes I'd never been to before we started that road trip, so I was always at Milton Keynes or I was always at Norwich, so it was cool to sort of go to those other slopes and sort of see what was happening there. And Tamworth's a really good one that we enjoyed going to.
And talk us through, I guess we having this conversation kind of, I guess, sort of 5-6 years ago when Unity Productions were kind of at that height, making movies every year. It would be a really easy thing to say, how do you kind of, sort of practical advice to kind of start that? And it would be just approach sponsors, make a yearly movie, and it's all good, you'll get lots of views. And it's very much changed, I guess, in the last 5 years, social media and everything, and content's now very accessible. Kind of talk us through, I guess, anyone that wants to kind of, I guess, at the end of the day, you need to pay your bills, so it's kind of nice to get some funding and some money for it. Kind of talk us through where Fridge Bangers is at, and kind of maybe some of the challenges you faced and some of the things you found with making this kind of regular content.
I'd say that probably our biggest challenge has definitely been funding it. So pretty much every single video that you've seen has always come out of mine and Mason's pocket. We put together a little crowdfunder last year for our road trip where we raised about £150, and that paid for a couple of hotels, but it doesn't pay for much more. So for the last 4 years we've just been funding everything on our own because we want to make this content that people are enjoying. Like, there's a lot of content now where it's Instagram stuff and it's like a few shots, and it's cool to see like what's going on at all the domes, but there's nothing of real high quality, as I'd say. Like, there's nothing where people are putting their like hours and hours and hours of work into it. But, so that was sort of what we was always aiming for, was to put in those hours and hours of work and make sort of every shot's perfect, like everything's framed right, all the tricks are perfectly landed, like just really pushing the level of what we can do. So I think that was always sort of, it didn't matter to us what money we was putting in and such, because we was having a good time doing it and people seemed to be enjoying what we was doing, but it's sort of where we take it next. Sort of, we looked at making a film, but there just doesn't seem to be that much demand for films at the moment. I think everyone really wants that short and sweet content, perfect for Instagram.
And for aspiring filmers, kind of people that are wanting to see what kind of content's out there and good people to follow for inspiration and advice, kind of who are people, sort of skiers or snowboarders that you've worked with that you really enjoy and think people would benefit from watching and kind of seeing the content they're putting out?
I guess there's like a whole bunch of people on Instagram that you can just follow them and just get them on your feed, really. I'd say guys like Tom Greenway and Mason Flannery there, like Mason puts in like so much work just to even like a single clip, like he does the sound design and everything. It's so cool to sort of see. Like, it just changes it a little bit from the regular Instagram post when there's just that little bit of effort. And then there's guys like Roe and Mark Donnelly up in Scotland who are putting in loads of effort, just loads of creativity. And then on the snowboard side of things, because we haven't really touched on much of the snowboarding, there's guys like Ollie Dutton who I do a fair bit of filming for when he's back in Milton Keynes, and I just sort of hand him my footage over, and it's really cool to see how he edits it differently to me. And then guys like Andy Nuds as well. A good sort of filmer guy to follow is Oliver Monks. He's always got some great posts to see, and Max Alcock as well. He's into his photos as well, so he's another good one to have a little look at. Those are some guys I'd recommend. Obviously, Fridge Bangers and Enjoy the View as well. So those are my little things for plug-in. But yeah, just try and get as much good content on your feed as possible, I'd say.
That's a great note to end on. Ollie, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. Thanks for all your advice and expertise. For people that want to get in touch with you for your business and for your Fridge Bangers, what are the places to go to contact you?
So for Fridge Bangers, you can follow us on Instagram at Fridge Bangers, and for Facebook, we have the Fridge Bangers Facebook page. For Enjoy the View, there's enjoytheview.co.uk, and the Facebook page is Enjoy the View, and the Instagram is Enjoy the View UK. So just follow us on any of those and sort of have a little look at what we're getting up to. We're going to be posting loads more stuff on the Fridge Bangers account over the next few weeks, because we'll be going around to all the competitions. And yeah, it's good to be on the show and have a little chat with you this afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll link all those in the description below, so make sure the spelling's and everything right. I'll see you Saturday for English Slopestyle Championships. Ollie, thank you very much.